Hello all, back again. So I hope you're doing well, and this is going to be a short video also. I know a lot of these are a little bit longer, but most of them try to keep them a bit short. And this one is on the difference between a business plan and a strategic plan. You will find in any number of articles and business magazines and entrepreneur magazines and innovation magazines or articles or websites, etc., books, and people say what you'll often see is that you need to develop a business plan, and you probably do. They'll always say talk about business plans. You'll see any number of templates for business plan, any number of support for business plans, all sorts of things for business plans, and less so for strategic plans. And I'm happy with that because I work more on strategy than business plans, so it gives me something to think about and talk about. But more than that, I really think it's important for you to know the difference between a strategic plan and a business plan. See how they work together and see how important it is to ensure you have a strategic plan in place before you have a business plan. Even though everyone's going to tell you, oh, you have an idea, develop a business plan. Let's talk about it for a second, and you'll see why I think it's really important to make sure you have the strategic plan first. Okay, so I call up it's a very short PowerPoint, just one page really, on strategic plan versus business plan. So let's look at that, and if you just go down to the first slide, here's the two, and you kind of see what's the difference here. So let's go over those and we'll elaborate a bit. First of all, a strategic plan is more long-term. You're thinking, what's your vision? What's your view? What are you looking to be 3, 5, 100 years down the road? What is your company all about? Like maybe if you're Apple, your company is all about beautiful technology that people like to use. That's your long-term view. It's not talking about how much money you want to make next month. That's your long-term view. A strategic plan is more conceptual. What are you thinking? What's the view? What's the big picture? What's it all about with this kind of business? And there's a vision component. Remember, you can kind of see how these are linked together. These are long-range things that are pulling you towards a distant horizon of some perceived, wonderful place to be, business-wise. And a strategic plan is based around goals. You'll see a lot of what we talk about is our goals in this course, and I think I always do because I think they're so important for your business and for your life that you have clearly identified specific goals, then you can work towards them. So a strategic plan has goals where you're looking for into the future for what you want to achieve. I want to build a factory in Michigan. I want to expand to France. I sold 100, now I want to sell 1,000. The goal is 900 more. Those are goals that you set for a strategy. A strategy because of the goals, a strategic plan will be more based on ideas. Remember, ideas are the vehicles for reaching your goals. You can't have ideas without goals because you have an idea about what, right? I mean, just go off in a distance. At the same time, if you only have a goal and don't convert it to action, it doesn't work. The only way to convert it to action is that in between, you have your goal, you come up with ideas how to reach those goals, and you convert those ideas into action. That's the process. Goals, ideas, action. So a strategic plan has goals and then therefore ideas. It works on a longer forecast, 3 to 5 years, and then just mentioned, you go goals, ideas, and then action steps. So you're going to have specific actions you take to implement the ideas to achieve the goals. That's a strategic plan, and then it's based on sustained performance over time to match your vision, concept, and long-term view. A business plan, on the other hand, is more short-term. It's basically tactical. It deals with steps and interim steps and little actions you take, not necessarily little meaning meaningless, but the action you take to take care of the tactical elements of what you're doing. It's based on a business model and focus on your target customers. You can, in a strategic plan, you'll talk about your target customer, but in a business plan, you'll say, okay, that's my target customer, people 35 to 42 in Wisconsin. I got to target them and go after them this quarter, this month, this year. You're worried more about your market fit, and it's basically very driven by your finances and budget. I always have budgets and things in my strategic plans, but in a business plan you must have them because hammering towards a result. So, and it has to be within a measurable short time. You're focusing on operations in a business plan, who does what, when, how much does it cost, and the people involved. So you can see that there are areas where there's overlap, and those are important. You can always go from a strategic plan to a business plan with some minor changes. You just take your long-term vision, cut it into shorter pieces, interim steps. You take your concept, turn them into tactical things. You can do that. You cannot turn a business plan to a strategic plan. And I'll tell you something, if any of you have ever worked on a strategic plan in another class or with your own business, you will have found, I'm almost sure, at some point you get stuck. You think, I'm doing this business, but I'm stuck. I don't like working on it anymore. I don't know what I'm doing. It's not working. And the reason for that is you haven't done a strategy. So that your business plan is stuck in something where you're down in the trenches and you haven't seen the high level view. So this happens all the time when people do strategic plans prior to when people do business plans prior to the strategic plan. They get caught in the weeds and can't get out, and they stop, and sometimes they just give up. So my strong opinion is to make sure you have your strategy in place, which flows easily into your business plan, because your strategy, you might have business plans for a whole bunch of different units of your company, and you might have strategies for them as well. But when it comes to implementation, short-term tactical business, you need to do those things, but only once you have the big strategy on top. Otherwise, you'll be working off in little tangents or trying to set up things that don't have a link and don't tie back to anything. The same thing with your life. You should have I want when you're maybe 10 years old, I want to have a college education. That's your strategy. Then you start thinking, okay, what does that mean, etc. When it gets closer and closer, you start thinking, I better figure this out. I need to apply here. I need a letter for this. I need to have a summer job so I can take care of this. Those are the business plan tactical elements to satisfy your long-term strategy. I know it's a little example, but that's kind of how it works. Strategy, then business plan. It works every time. Business plan, trying to build strategy afterwards, you're almost going to start over again. And I as a consultant, I work with the financial industry, and I basically write strategies, and I work with them on their strategies, on their overall strategic plans, their business strategic plan, their new strategies for new growth, etc. That's what I've been doing this for a long time, and I can see over and over again when especially a new client, I'll get there and they'll show me all this stuff, and I think, well, you got a whole bunch of business plans here, but let's take a step back and build a strategy for where your company is going, the big picture. Then these things, it's not easy, but they'll start flowing logically and more in alignment with what your overall strategy is. Okay, I hope that makes sense. If you have any questions, please let me know. Thanks again for your attention. Appreciate it. Thanks a lot.